Hey everybody, welcome to another review. So I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album by the metalcore band Atreyu. This is The End Is Not The End. So this is the band's first new record since 2023's The Beautiful Dark of Life, which, if you know my opinion on that album, it was pretty rough. It was a bunch of EPs that they worked on, then slapped them into one full album to try and get as much success from this period. And while it did have like one or two probably popular songs that people might recognise if you're a metalcore fan, it was not interesting in the slightest to me. I just felt like a lot of the sound was just so on the nose, cheap, generic. And after following the clunky Baptize, it wasn't really the album that pushed the band back into a solid ground. But The End Is Not The End seems to push the Atreyu back into better territory. Not necessarily great territory or great waters, but I mean, I will accept any improvement over the last two albums, definitely, for sure. This record pushes a lot more into the band's more aggressive metalcore sound, but still verses in some poppy, more mainstream melodic elements that a lot of metalcore bands have been going for, especially bands like Beartooth or Of Mice and Men, for example. There's a lot of cool ideas Atreyu actually bring on this album, and I'm not even gonna lie, I think getting Soulfly's Max Cavalera as a feature was a big surprise no one was expecting, but yeah, it exists and it's actually somewhat enjoyable. And I can say that somewhat enjoyable is the best way I can personally describe this record, because there is elements that I want to like in some songs but I can't, but there actually are some songs that I think are decently solid. Dead's a good opener, or at least opening song. All For You isn't too bad, and I quite liked some of the tracks like Ego Death, Children of Light, and Ghost in Me, and even Glass Eater to an extent. There is some good ideas on this record that I have been missing with Atreyu for a while, especially since I've not really listened to Atreyu when they were more in their prime. I've only listened to the band during the aftermath of just non-stop awfulness, so it's nice that I'm kind of experiencing live Atreyu get better, because I've never really gone out of my way to listen to the band's classic stuff, other than a few singles of course, but this is definitely an improvement that I honestly want the band to keep pushing. There's some potential here, and I honestly feel like that's what we need, is Atreyu to have a clean slate, figure out what worked in the past, and if they want to push into a newer sound, how are they going to make it work? Because the last two albums were made me think that it wasn't working, and I would not want to review Atreyu again, because I really did not like the last two albums. But this one, yeah, this one's definitely a lot more enjoyable. It's easier to digest. It has got Atreyu's signature sound, but in a better scape as well. And I think it's got some good instrumentation. Some of the songs remind me of Architects, and other elements they bring in as well are pretty solid to this record. But I can't really say it's still that good either. It's just better than what we had before. To me, it's kind of not mediocre, just a little bit better than mediocre, because there's still tracks that I feel like are just downright not very good, like Death Rattle, which the call out breakdown thing on this one was awful. I really didn't enjoy this one, but then there's other stuff that I actually did enjoy, so you kind of get a mixture of that. Personally, I think there's more good than bad, but overall my opinion is it's still a mixed record, and even if there's a bunch of good songs, a bunch of them I still think could be a lot better. So all in all, I think Atreyu has developed a stronger sense of what they want to continue doing, and props to them, because they have definitely had a big impact on metalcore, and then they sort of shifted to a more melodic sound after a few records when they were building up their success, and then now they've just kind of blending in the two elements. So I'll give this one a 2.5 out of 5. It's not too bad, and honestly I was expecting this to be worse, but it hit me a lot better than I thought. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.